Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Defining Discipline podcast. I'm your host, Scott. Defining discipline is a lifestyle, a mentality, and a brand. And within this podcast, we're going to focus on self-improvement as you follow along with me on my journey. We'll also hear from special guests of all walks of life on this podcast and their remarkable journeys that led them to where they are today. Today is day 156 of my journey. At the beginning of the year, I challenged myself to run 365 days out of the year this year, all outside, bearing the elements, whatever they may bring. I'd also challenged myself to run 1,250 miles in that time frame, but I decided to change it to 1,500 miles recently because the mileage I'm at, I'd probably exceed that mileage a lot sooner than within the year, so I wanted to up that mileage to 1,500. Now, this is only my second year running. Within the first full year, I was able to run 1,002 miles, and I did that within 175 days. So me running 365 days is a 100% step up in the amount of days I'll be running, as well as a 50% step up in the amount of miles I'll be running this year, going from 1,002 to 1,500. Mariana's joining me today for this episode. As you can see, I'm sitting here in bed, ladies and gentlemen. And we're doing that because throughout this time frame of challenging myself to do all these miles, I also decided to challenge myself to run a 50K trail race. Within that time frame. And that trail race was today. 31 miles. My watch first got all wacky and gave me out like 35 miles on one, and my other one turned out just under 31. I think it was 30.8. But I got here back at home, fixed my Strava, and it readjusted it to 31.8 miles for the day is what it says on my watch, or on the Strava app after I updated it here at home. Other than that, I also do have another race, which is a Detroit Free Press Marathon, and that is coming up in October. But like I said, that's why I'm currently in bed. We just got back. It's like 10:20. I'm dead tired. I haven't posted anything because there was like no service, and then I didn't have my computer, and then we were expected to be home earlier, so I didn't record anything. So now we're here. I'm laying in bed with the baby. But let's talk about miles, I guess, for the day, the month, the week, and the year, ladies and gentlemen. So like I said, today was my 50K trail race. So for the day, I put in 31.8 miles. That put me at 42 miles for the week, which put me at 38.1 miles for the month, which put me at 698.3 miles for the year, guys. So big miles today. Took a big chunk out of a lot of the miles from doing that. So let's talk about these miles. Let's talk about the monthly miles here. So we're at 38.1 miles, guys. Every single month I challenge myself to do a 100-mile challenge, and I do it in honor of a charity in which I donate money to, and I also start a fundraiser and try to raise awareness and money for also through Facebook. So for the first 5 months, we were able to raise money for 5 great charities. Now we're here in the 6th month, which is June, and we were raising money for the Alzheimer's Association, because June is Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. And you can find the link to donate to that fundraiser and that charity. You can find the link to donate to the fundraiser and the charity for the fundraiser. I'm babbling now. I'm making no sense. You can find a link to donate on the Defining Discipline Instagram story. Ain't that right? And the Defining Discipline Facebook story. You can also find it on my personal page's Instagram story and my personal page's Facebook story. Um, all the donations that get made to this fundraiser go to the fundraiser. Facebook takes zero cut. That's why I continue to do these fundraisers through Facebook, because they are good enough to at least not take any percentage of the donation. They're just letting us use their application as a third party entity that's just kind of transferring money from you to the charity. So it's really cool. That's why we continue to do it, isn't it? Yeah, it's really cool. We like to do it like that because we want them to get all the money and all the attention. So you guys can make those donations there, but understand that if you can't donate, don't feel bad. We can also at least share the fundraiser. That goes a long way too. Sometimes it even goes farther than donating. So if you can donate and share, that's the best you could do. But if you can just share, that is also still a great thing, because the main thing we're trying to do is raise awareness for these causes as well as money, just so everyone has a better understanding what they're about. So let's kind of talk about Alzheimer's disease and dementia, Brain Awareness Month, for the fact that it is Brain Awareness Month. I think it's something that is a very devastating disease. One, it takes its toll on the person itself, but it also takes a toll on the family and the people around the person. It's really hard sometimes to deal with people like that, that are, have dementia and are going through Alzheimer's disease. Where sometimes it's a real struggle to try to help them when they don't even sometimes know where you are or who you are or where they are at the same time. So, if we can just raise some money to try to understand the brain better, and there's so many new discoveries every day coming out about different things that really help. One thing that's getting really pushed right now that I've been taking, it's helped me out, can't say tremendously, but it definitely, I have seen improvements. Lion's mane mushrooms has really helped me out. Supplementing that within my coffee and trying to just eat a healthier diet and try to be really conscious on things that are good for the brain and putting that in my body and not trying to gunk it up. So Brain Awareness Month, guys, let's try to treat our brains better by eating brain healthy foods and doing brain healthy things. Other than that, let's just kind of get into today's episode, guys. Today is day 156, like I said, and we are going to talk about today's theme, which, if you didn't know or couldn't guess, it's race day, 50K trail. Let's talk about it, guys. It was unbelievable. The whole build-up, the nerves. I had a set time. Let's talk about time. I had a set time I really wanted. In my head, I'm like, you know what? I wanted to finish at the same time I finished that marathon last year, because I fell off my training, and I feel like I could have done a lot better on my marathon. So if I finish my marathon at 5 hours and 22 minutes, I should be able to finish this in 5 hours and 22 minutes. Okay, that did not happen, first and foremost. I actually finished in 7 hours and 15 minutes, and 7 hours, 15 minutes, and 22 seconds is when I finished that race, guys. 31 miles. It was one hell of a race. I think there was 78. We don't have. I don't have the official number of how many people raced, but there were 78 total. I fell right in there in the middle of the pack. I got actually 39. So ironically, literally the middle of the pack. But we'll find out officially how many people were in the race. My buddy Joe, who I also ran the race with, he crushed it. He, I don't think, was satisfied with his time as well, but he was an hour ahead of me. He was, I think, 10 people ahead of me too. I think he got 29th, so he did a great job. Killed it out there, Joe. I'm glad you help keep pushing me to do these races with you, and I got someone out there to do it with. It's great. Even though you keep leaving me behind. So I think the fastest time was pretty fast, actually. It was under 5 hours. It was 4 hours and 42 minutes. So then I actually looked. I was like, all right, well, if I wanted to do 5 hours and 22 minutes, what place would I have gotten if I did that? I'd have been in eighth place, okay, guys? So the chances of me really doing that, yes, I've been training, but this is only my second year running. Me going out there and being able to get eighth place, I guess it's possible, but looking at that, it makes my set time feel more, what I wanted to get, my goal makes me feel more like I was just definitely overshooting it. So I don't feel as bad now. And especially with the elevation, guys, there was so much elevation, and it was so weird because in my head, I seen there were spots that was supposed to be really high grade, and I couldn't tell what was good, what was high grade. Like I just seen a hill, and I was like, it doesn't look too bad. I'll take it. Let me go for it. I went the first time around, almost taking all of the hills, but I think I got to mile like 10 or something like that, and just the hills were just getting to me. I could tell. So anytime I would get to hill, I would try to really take it easy going up those hills at the end. Because I remember thinking like there was supposed to be really big elevation gain, like a big grade, and I didn't feel it. I never felt like there was too big of a grade, at least the first time going around. And the first time there were so many of us together in a group before people kind of started breaking off and spreading out on the trail. I was stuck in a group of like 6 to 8 people to start. Like I instantly lost Joe. I dropped something off my camera, so I had to hurry up and stop and go back a second and grab it. And I looked up and Joe was already like 20 feet ahead of me with like 30 people between us. Not 30, but 10 or 15 people between us. And I was gonna try to run through him, but I was like, I'm not gonna just burn my legs out. I'll just catch up to him here in a second. And then it just never happened. So he was gone. So I got in a group with like 8 strangers. It was really cool. We were at the start, I think for the first, I didn't even stop the first aid station, which was 4 miles in. I waited to hit the 6.5 mile, or I think maybe even 7 mile aid station. Not sure exactly where it was at on the thing. It was actually the same aid station, but you actually loop back around a different way and hit it again for the first one and second one. So I hit it the second time back going through, and that's when I lost everyone. Some people hit it, but they had their stuff a little bit more ready than I did, so I wasn't ready just to get up and to just hit it and go. I pretty much lost everyone I was with right then and there. It took me, some lady actually helped me open my fuel, my first one, and like helped me pour it in, and I was just, I think maybe the nerves was also playing into it a little bit too. It was just kind of like, it was just in it, it was just insane. So yeah, 6 miles in, finally got out. Then I was by myself pretty much for a good majority of it. Some people, I passed a couple people, and then some people passed me. One of the guys actually dropped out in the first 8 group. He dropped out. I didn't see him for a while. I'm trying to think what happened through the first 15. I remember getting to the next aid station, which is technically the third aid station. They're blaring music. They're partying up at the hill. I decided to skip that one as well. Just keep going, improve my time. So I think the first 10 miles, I was at a pretty good pace. Didn't go too slow, too many spots. But then, like I said, I really kind of slowed down my pace a little bit after that. And then a lot of it, the heat definitely really took a hold of me. It was over 90 degrees out there, guys, today. There was barely any breeze when there was one. You barely felt it. Thankfully, we were in a lot of shade, but then there was still a lot of sunlight peeking through some areas, and I'm pretty sure I got a little burned. But yeah, overall, just such a great and amazing experience. It was a 215-mile loops, so we actually, I made it halfway through, and when I got back, my dad, my mom was there, my mom's friend Jeanette, my baby, my wife, and just seeing them, it was so awesome. And part of me, I sat down to eat part of a banana and get some things I needed to get, switch out some gear that I think I need. I was like, I need to not wear this, and switch off a little bit of stuff. And I sat there think I sat down for like 10 to 15 minutes, and it was like I didn't want to get up. I was like, all right, I can just sit here and talk with you guys. I just ran for like 2.5 hours. It's nice to kind of just sit here and enjoy your guys' company. And then I realized it's like, wait, I gotta go. I'm racing right now. So eventually I got everything up, got everything together. And as soon as I stood up, my body felt like it was going to collapse. And I was like, shoot, I might have to literally walk this next 15 miles. And I just kept running, kept going, just kept pushing my body. And I think like a quarter of the mile through me pushing through that, my body just kind of loosened up. And I was able to push it probably a mile in. And then from there on out, it was kind of like push it, hit a hill, walk up the hill. Flat, run the flat. Run the downhills a little bit, but if it's a big graded downhill, oh, you're walking that bad boy, because those downhill, I mean, even when I was sometimes I was walking the downhills and I felt like maybe me walking it was doing more damage than me just letting my legs just take me, like just, all right, see ya. So it was just an overall amazing experience, guys. You know, hit mile 20, thought I was going to hit the wall. Mile 19 and 20, I actually hit a good groove where I actually met up with another guy. He passed me, but as soon as he passed me, I'm like, all right, I'm going to just kind of start running with him. And I stayed behind him all the way to like mile 20, 21 or something like that for a while. And we just, right there, I hit like a nice good groove, and eventually I had to drop out. He kept going. He was gone. I brought up that one guy that dropped out earlier that was within the group of 8. When I stopped halfway and I sat there for 15 minutes, he passed me like 5 minutes ahead of me. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll catch him. Maybe I won't. You know, I had a chance. Not that I was like, you know, purposely racing anyone, but, you know, I was just trying to like get familiar faces and see who's, you know, within my range. So I was like, maybe I'll pass him. Maybe I won't. He was running pretty good earlier, but he dropped out, and I got ahead of him quite a bit because I've been sitting here for a while. But he's ahead of me now. But I kept running. Like I said, I think I really gained some ground within that 19 and 20 mile, and I passed him again with that guy. Me and that guy passed him, caught up to him, passed him. And then after that, when I dropped out from that one guy, me and him just played piggyback back and forth. Like I would have it for a little bit, and then I would start walking, and I would look behind me, and he'd be right on my butt. He'd pass me. He'd start walking. I'd pass him. That happened for a while. And then it was pretty much like at every aid station. I think the next aid station I beat him to. I beat him to the first 3 aid stations. Then he beat me to the last aid station. And then at that aid station, I just drank as much water as I could. Filled up. I was using Tailwind Nutrition, guys. It worked wonders for me the whole entire race. I didn't feel too sick to my stomach or anything like that. I ate like a banana. I didn't eat much while running. I just stuck straight to the Tailwind Nutrition fuel. It did good for me, but it got so hot towards the end at the very last like 3.5 miles or whatever it was after that aid station. I was just like, I got the aid station. I was like dumping all the Tailwind Nutrition out, going all water, straight water, just because I could just tell I was just completely dehydrated. I was completely just beat. So I really needed to just get as much water in my body to continue to go. And then I was even using some of it to just kind of like cool myself off, because I could feel myself overheating, and I didn't want to have a heat stroke while trying to crank out these last 3 miles. And again, I wasn't trying to like beat him, but I was trying to beat him, you know. So I wanted to make sure I could just crush it out. I did beat him, but he was a really cool guy. Gave him a high five when he came in. It was just a fun time. Like I said, you know, was running and walking. In those last 3 miles, I just was like, yeah, I got to get in. I got to do this. Just pushed it out, walked a little bit up hills, you know, not too many. I actually ran a little bit more up hills towards the end, because again, I was just trying to get back as soon as possible to greet my wife and my daughter, my dad and my mom, and it was just such a great great time. And my mom's friend came out as well, Jeanette. Thank you for coming out. It was awesome to have you there to support too, and as well to ride with my mom, so she didn't have to drive alone, and to take pictures and just to be there to cheer me on. It was so awesome. Thank you for that as well. But guys, 2021, you know, goals. I'm just hitting them, and it feels so good. It's been stressful too. It's been a hell of a stressful year. So don't think just because I'm out here pumping this out that I'm not going through, a lot of things personally as well. Like there's a lot of things going on, but this is the one thing that's kind of keeping me afloat. I guess as Jordan Peterson would say, to reference it to the Bible, whatever, is the whole flood scenario. When the flood comes, you want something. Because the flood's gonna come. There's no denying the flood. The flood's gonna come. So when the flood comes, you want something there meaningful to keep you afloat. And it's the one thing that's really kept me mentally and physically be able to try to push through this stuff. So, but 2021 has just been a year of goals so far, guys. And it's so fun to be able to really push myself and my body beyond its limits. Officially an ultra runner as of today. The next goal now, 50 miler next year for sure. Another thing I guess I want to talk about is, like I told you, that the halfway through I was like, I'm done, ready to cash in. I'm ready to maybe just sit here and talk with you guys the whole time. Got up, eventually just kept going, pushing myself through. And it was, I think, like right before I got to the last aid station, and then right before the guy passed me to get to the last aid station, just in my head as I'm running, and then even like from there almost to the finish line, in my head I'm like, why am I doing this? Why did I ever start running? I'm just going to stick to straight 5Ks. I'm going to start just doing small runs and get faster. Why am I doing ultra runs? What am I doing with my life? Why am I pushing myself like this? I'm never doing this again. I am never doing this again, is what I kept telling myself. As soon as I crossed that finish line, I teared up. I was so emotional. It felt so good. I sat down for like 10 minutes, and the first thing I thought was, all right, when's the next one? So it was so amazing, guys. So great. So thankful. So grateful. Yeah, that's all I can really think about right now offhand. Actually, I'm going to post some pictures. I actually found a turtle that was like on the trail. And what the craziest part about it is I passed it twice and it still somehow beat me. That was a bad joke. But no, I really did find a big tortoise that was like right on the trail. Took a picture of it. Was thinking about moving it, but then I thought the irony itself of having a turtle on a trail as we're running it, racing. It was off to the side enough where I felt like it was safe enough, but it was just crazy to see. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't want to keep you too much longer, and someone's getting fussy. Someone's getting a little fussy. For those listening to the audio only, the coos of a baby is, it's a baby. It's an actual baby cooing sitting right next to me. Also, sucking on her fingers and looking around, trying to discover what's going on. So her daddy just ran a big race today. Ain't that right? So you got me through that race today, didn't you? Little butt head. Alright, yeah, you got me through the race, and then on the way home, she was crying the whole time. She was like, yeah, I'm glad you made it. Now it's time to... Here's the real ultra marathon, 2.5 hour drive of crying. She's a good girl. Alright, guys, thank you so much for listening and following along. Sorry for the baby voices and me talking to my baby in the middle of the episode that I will not be editing out because I'm too tired to really do anything of like effort right now. I'm gonna still get out there and try to run tomorrow. Probably be a really, really slow pace. But I'm gonna get out there. Um, Other than that, thanks so much for listening. 50K trail race in the books, ultra marathon. The journey's great, guys. Let's talk about your daily discipline. Okay, and it's not going to be 50K trail race, even though it should be. It should be just go out there right now and run a 50K trail race. But instead, what it's going to be is just, like I said earlier, it's goals. It's, you know, I fear, I think and fear that too many of us as a species don't set goals for ourselves. And then not even just set goals, but work towards those goals. We set like wishes and hopes, but we never set goals for ourselves and really work towards those goals every day and see the progress that can be made while working towards those goals. And it doesn't have to be, like I said, a 50K trail race. It could be anything that's gonna empower you and give you confidence and make you really realize your full potential of whatever it may be. Like, anything is possible. You know, I just ran a 50K trail race within not even 2 full years of running. You can do this. We can all do this. This is possible. We're gonna get it done. Let's really get out here and start grinding. So set some goals, and that's your daily discipline. I think that was already an episode, but it's really to pursue those goals. Really push yourself. You know, your daily discipline today is to look at me as yes, I wasn't too crazy out of shape, and I didn't have a crazy history that was too, debilitating or anything like that. I don't have this crazy story, but yes, I was out of shape enough where I shouldn't have been running. I'm still young, but I'm not getting any younger. I'm definitely not in the prime age of being an athlete. But just being able to really, really push myself and set some goals and get out there and work towards it. If you would have asked me even the first day when I started running, if I would have ran 31 miles today, you would have gave me that time frame, I would have told you you're crazy. You would have asked any of my friends, any of my family, anyone, they would have said, yeah, could he do it? Probably, but will he? No. Okay? Can a person do that? Yeah, a person can do that. Will Scott do it? No. That would have been everyone's answer. That would have been my answer. But me really wanting to change my life and to set the first goal of just running, with my dogs, and then seeing how much it changed my mentality on trying to stay and exercise more, stay healthy and exercise more, just seeing that and feeling it, and then setting the next goal of being like, all right, well, I ran with my dogs, and I challenged myself to run 100 miles within 3 months, and I did that starting off running. Now let's challenge myself to run 1,000 miles in a year, and now let's challenge myself to run a marathon this year. Like, that would have never happened without me even starting the small progress and just starting the small goals. So maybe just building up enough confidence to find out what it is you want to be your goal and really start pursuing it. So that is your daily discipline, and use again, this story as a prime example. Again, it's nothing crazy of where there's nothing crazy where I had a really hard upbringing and came to where I'm at, but I still had a lot of progress, and it's something that I think a lot of people can gain from, to see that anything's possible if you just put your mind to it. And I think we can all do something great. So I want to see everyone really put their mind and their effort towards something, may it be running or pursuing whatever their passion is. That is your daily discipline for the day, ladies and gentlemen. Other than that, we want to thank you so much for following along and listening to the Defining Discipline podcast. I'm your host, Scott. This is episode 156. We're going to be closing this episode out right now. Please give us a like, a subscribe, a follow, and a share on our Instagram, our Facebook, our TikTok, and our YouTube, as well as whatever podcast streaming platform you have been listening on. Thank you guys so much for listening and following along. We'll probably talk about this trail race a little bit more tomorrow, but we're 30 minutes into the episode. I don't want to keep going. Maybe we'll continue a little bit more once I get a little bit more refreshed. A little bit of sleeping too. All right, so thank you guys so much for following along. I'm your host, Scott, Defining Discipline Podcast. Get your daily discipline done today. Stay disciplined. Peace.